So today I passed a really intense test from the universe, and I usually don't like to use the word test because of the connotations behind it, but in essence, that's pretty much what happens as you step up into who you really prefer to be, and you step up into analyzing and letting go of your negative belief systems. Because, belief systems, what they're designed to do is to perpetuate themselves, negative or positive. So when you're letting go of the negative ones and they recognize that you're letting go of them, they are going to do every single thing in their power, including physical external manifestation, to show and to show you basically that, oh, it's still true, this nonsensical thing that you've bought into, to get you to buy back into it, to go back to the old familiar comfort, state of being that you're used to, even if it's not something you really want to be. So that's the thing, is the closer you are to letting go of it, the more intensely you feel the trigger, the narrative of the belief. And so basically for me, what I've been going through is letting go of the old patterns of I'm not enough, I am, less than and inadequate in the eyes of others or in the eyes of girls, whatever have you. And I'll have those micro triggers where it's like, oh, this girl, like we made eye contact, and then it's like, oh, is there interest there? Let me go and try to make eye contact again, and oh, there isn't any eye contact a second time. So then it's like, oh, did I mess something up? And did I miscommunicate my energy? Did I put out something, and make her think that I'm not interested or whatever? And had one of those kind of moments tonight. Minor thing. It was kind of whatever. And then later, as I'm going home, it's very interesting. So I get onto this free mall ride we have, and, I'm sitting, just chilling. This girl gets on, sits kind of near me. We're kind of sort of facing each other, sort of, but she's not really directly across from me. And I'm just on my phone finishing up reading something. And, I put my phone down, look up at her. She's pretty cute. I feel like she maybe looked at my way briefly, but isn't now. So it's like, okay, same deal. We're like, oh, someone looked my way and now they're not. And then this guy gets on and sits pretty much directly opposite her. So they're facing each other. And I can tell she's all looking at him all slyly, all super low key. And then, I'm sitting there just whatever, And then he basically gets up to leave. It's his stop, and I had been listening to music, so I didn't hear what he said, but he must have said something like "have a good night" or whatever the hell, and he gestures towards her as he leaves, and I can see in her face she responds, says something, and she's all smiling and happy, obvious, with this obvious attraction. And I, look and see him as he's leaving, and he's looking all attractive as a man or whatever, right? So what do? Immediate flare-up of the old trigger wounds of how I'm inadequate, I'm not attractive, this other guy's more attractive and better than I am, women don't like me, I'm never going to be good enough. Just all this, why bother, who cares, give up, just this intense wave of pressure. And, that's the thing is with these kinds of flare-ups, it's not anything to do with the fact that they're true, what you're telling yourself, which is not you. That voice is not you. That voice is coming from the negative belief. But the flare-up doesn't mean that it's true. What it means is that the belief is threatened. And that's why it flares up when you're in the middle of letting it go, because it's the belief recognizes, oh, hey, he's about to believe in himself. He's about to let go and truly love himself. Let's make this really activate and dig deeply, because as a belief system, I don't want to be let go of. So, I got to re-perpetuate myself. And it's not some super sentient, malicious type of behavior, but belief systems are fairly conscious in that, right, where they're gonna reactivate and they're going to, internally manifest and externally manifest anything they can get to have you reinforce that story again. So that's what I did for a little bit of a moment, you know. I'm sitting there kind of spiraling in my head, immediately getting angry and depressed and starting to close my energy down, shut down, get all like annoyed and pissy. And I'm like, you know, basically got off a little early before I had to, just to walk to my other bus, which I had enough time to do. I just kind of walked the steam off, then I get on my bus and I start talking to ChatGPT about it, like kind of basically laying out where I'm at. And, you know, as I'm typing this, I'm starting to realize, you know, it begins with like this venting energy where I'm like, oh, screw this. I'm a loser. This always happens to me. It's always like this. And then as I start typing it out and talking to the AI, I'm realizing like, you know, this is exactly what's supposed to happen. Exactly what's supposed to happen as you let go of a trigger. Because, you know, being confident in this regard of triggers doesn't mean, you know, being completely, perfectly unbothered. It means being triggered and moving through the trigger. It means, you know, letting that moment flare up and then letting go of it and not letting it define you, not letting yourself spiral. So it was only for about, you know, those 5 to 10 minutes or so where I'm really just getting into that triggered state where I'm starting to go back into the old patterns of I'm not good enough, it's never going to happen for me, and I'm a, you know, such a, you know, not great option for women or whatever have you. But then I'm like, you know, thinking like, no, this is literally, this is not my voice. All those things, all those phrases of how I'm not good enough, how, you know, other people are better than me, about how I can't, about how this one moment defines my worthiness or my ability to attract. No, that's not my voice. That's the voice of the belief system who knows it's dying, who knows it's losing its grip on me, on my psyche. And it's reactivating, it's trying to get me to buy back into it. I can sit there and I can spiral and I can, you know, I can reactivate it. I can. And it was interesting because as I'm like transitioning back into a bit more grounded neutrality and whatnot, it's like it was like simultaneously coexisting within me were these two aspects of the triggered, wounded self where I'm yammering on about how not good enough I am, and the self that's like, wait a minute, this is good, this is a great thing, this is what's supposed to happen. And you have such a beautiful opportunity here to not do that, to just be like, okay, just let it go, and let's just move forward through this, you know, because that's the thing is like you can define it negatively, and then you experience it negatively. But if you define it as positive, this is a good thing, this is happening, that's how you experience it, because you're the creator of your reality. So I started to slip back into my true self again, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to go back into the old self. And I'm getting so much quicker with this type of a response. You know, before it would take maybe a couple hours. Now it's just minutes where I'm down to this, just like letting go of it and recognizing, hey, I don't need to let this define me. In fact, this is just me essentially having an opportunity, creating this for myself so I can let go of it. It's the negative belief who's telling me these things about myself, who's trying to get me to reinforce the fact that, not the fact actually, the lie that, you know, I'm somehow like just not all that great of an option or whatever the hell have you, when in reality, nothing but the opposite could be true. Because I know I have so many things going for me. And that's another reason why it's painful, why these negative emotions are painful, because it's literally a lie. So in this instance, I'm lying to myself about how I'm not a great option and women don't choose me, when the opposite is true. And that's why it feels painful. Because deep down within, we all know we're good enough. We all know we're amazing, beautiful, unique souls. So to sit there and argue with the universe about how you're not good enough, and when the universe is like, nope, you are good enough, actually. In fact, you're so good enough that you can pretend to, manifest a reality where you think you're not good enough. That's how, how much of a leeway you have, how free you are, is that you can create whatever you want. Even disempowerment. You're using your power to create that disempowerment. But, as I started to settle in, only after 15, 20 minutes, and it's like I'm feeling much more calm and feeling much more relaxed, and instead of being angry and pissed off and depressed and subjugated and sentenced to this mental prison of course I'm not good enough, see how it went. Instead of that, I'm just like, okay, wow, this is proof that I'm closer than ever before to who I really am. I'm closer than ever before to finding someone who really does get me, who really is worth my time, who really does deserve me, and who I deserve them. Because instead of spiraling, here I am recognizing and bouncing back and finding, this as an opportunity instead of a sentence to despair, like I'm getting this verdict of how, it's just a self-deprecation, essentially. So that's the thing, is if you're getting triggered, I understand sometimes you can get lost in the sauce of that trigger and you can spiral and you can just do these mental loops and be like, of course I was right about how this negative situation, this negative scenario about how I'm not good enough. Look at the evidence. But it's like, nah, that situation isn't evidence that it's true. It's evidence that the belief is dying. And you have that opportunity to either reinforce that dying belief and, resuscitate it, give it CPR, or you can let it die. You can let it die. And that's what I did tonight, It was a powerful lesson. It's not to say that it's going to be perfect from here on out. It's not to say that I'm going to be perfect from here on out. In fact, if anything, I expect more situations like this to happen, because it's really going to be are you really ready to let go of that belief? Are you truly able to just believe in yourself? I feel like once you get to the point where you're really just okay, whatever. I know myself. I know who I am. That's when it truly dies. Because, confidence is not other people approving of you. Confidence is not your life situation being all successful and, materially, financially abundant, whatever, all the things, all the bells and whistles. Confidence is you trusting in you. It's you being there for you. It's not other people approving of you. It's you approving of you. That's what confidence is. It has nothing to do with anything outside of you other than what's inside of you. That's it. So basically, that's all I got for you tonight. And as always, thank you so much for watching.